awaiting our guest speaker, John McLaughlin. John, if you want to introduce your bio to everyone, so everyone knows what you do.
Yeah, we got to start at the beginning though. Alright, I've done polling for over 30 years for various Republican and conservative candidates across the country. That's right, that's good. How you doing? Alright, when I screwed up, I can pull on you, right? So, what you're going to see is some slides and then we'll put on the light. But it's always better as pollsters to have slides. But I've done this for over 30 years. My brother Jim and I run McLaughlin Associates. 5 years ago, I got asked to write a plan for Donald Trump, that he was going to run for president. A lot of people didn't think he was serious. At the time, we spent a month writing it. Of course, we were writing it on spec, so we never got paid back then. But he was serious. We had a lot of people that, Jason Miller's communications director was supposed to be the manager. Larry Weitzner, who did his TV ads, was supposed to be on back then, doing TV ads, and Corey Lewandowski, people all over the country that were ready to work for Donald Trump 5 years ago. And he decided not to do it because the time wasn't right for him personally. But this time he went and did it. And I was fortunate, at the time, I guess it was, January 15th, January 2015, I get a phone call from Corey Lewandowski. He says, he's gonna run, Donald Trump's gonna run, would you wanna do some polling? To which I said, if I poll now and he's behind, he'll fire me. But I said, seriously, at the time I was engaged working for Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel, and I was going back and forth, and I said, I really can't do both, because I gotta focus on making sure that the Prime Minister, whose election was gonna be in March, got reelected, and we were in a close race, and by coincidence, President Obama was working hard against him, helping the super PAC, regardless of what they tell you. There was quite a bit of money put in from outside the country, as well as resources, and the Obama campaign had Jeremy Bird, the political director, and 4 other Americans working for this super PAC, which was anybody but Bibi, so I had to make sure that Bibi got reelected. And
thank you.
Thank you.
But so I had to postpone working for Donald back then, and then I was fortunate that I was helping him out, giving him advice, but we hadn't committed to any campaign. And the day after Wisconsin, I saw him the day before Wisconsin, and he said, "What do you think?" I said, "You're going to lose." And he said, I saw him in Wisconsin, and I was on Hannity Radio that day out in Milwaukee, and I said, "I think you're going to lose." And he said, "Well, why?" I said, "Well, you attacked the governor. The governor here is pretty popular. He's beaten the unions 3 times, and they spent tens of millions against him. That wasn't a good idea." So I said, "You should, but you should win New York, and you should win New York big, and then you got to make sure that you win the Northeast and Indiana." In Indiana, we do polling all over the country, but I have the Indiana Republican State Senate majority. And every district I had at the time, Cruz was winning, not Donald Trump. So, so he loses Wisconsin. He calls me the next day, 5 o'clock. I'm supposed to go the next day to Florida with my family. He says, "Can you meet?" And I said, "Sure, what time?" And he says, 11 o'clock. So I put off my trip and went to see him and spent a few hours figuring out how to win New York and making sure he would win the Northeast and Indiana. And once he won Indiana, he kind of sealed the deal. Then he actually did some polling. First poll he actually took for the general election was in New York. And we did that, and he wasn't too bad. Could have, we were down by 12 points, and we could have made a run at it. But there was a lot of other states where it was closer that they were going to put in their resources. And I ended up being one of 5 pollsters for the campaign: Kellyanne Conway, Tony Fabrizio, myself, Adam Geller, Mike Basilisa. So I was one of 5 pollsters, and I ended up with key states like Ohio and Georgia and other states where we always thought we could win. And you're going to see some of the slides here are going to tell you why we thought we could win and how important that was. Look at that, huh? I went to the wrong thing. Menachem, I've already messed it up. Menachem. Hold on, put it at this. That was a different group there. We might have to do this manually because I got a PDF file.
So. It is a PDF, so if you just
it's called the mouse wheel. We'll get
Ah, that, I got it. Now, that's the trick. Very good, Michael.
Thank you.
Well, anyway, this was one of the reasons why we thought we could win. When you looked at, these are national surveys taken since October of 2015 by my company, and we would take them pretty much monthly, and then we would publish them. And you can see here, for the last couple of years, 2/3 of Americans think we've been on the wrong track. And it's everything from the economy to security to your daily lives, values, etc. And I don't know why I'm doing that.
Don't worry.
Right?
Because we're going in the wrong direction.
I didn't touch that. It's the Russians. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. All right, so don't move when that comes. But you can see here, part of the reason why I thought he could win is when 2/3 of the country think you're on the wrong track, they're not going to reelect the incumbent party. And one of the things that we were always doing in the surveys was people that said that we're on the wrong track, that weren't yet voting for Trump, were a key target for us. When you look at this, this is in September, the wrong track people, just to see the dynamic of them. If they were voting for Clinton, fully 30% said we're on the wrong track, only 61%. If they were voting for Trump, it was wrong track 88-8. If they were undecided, wrong track, and it was 84-16. So there was this hidden vote. Everybody talks about a hidden vote. It wasn't hidden. If you thought the country was on the wrong track, you didn't want to vote for the incumbent party. You didn't want to vote for Clinton. And you can see here, Republicans 83% wrong track. Democrats 30% said, 39% said wrong track, and 70% of the independents. So there was a huge vote for us. Even African Americans, 37% wrong track. Hispanics, 63 wrong track. So there was this hidden vote that we were trying to tap into to get more votes. That's the president's job approval. Notice, this is, when you see 5642 here, that's the 5641. That's November of 2014. All my Republican colleagues who do what I do think we're real geniuses. We're not. President Obama was our best friend. If you disapproved the job he was doing, you voted Republican. And you can see here, he was underwater until some point during this year, about March, he started becoming net positive. Not big net positive, but you can see through November, he was 52-45. And we have a national survey where he's 53 approved. His numbers are going up because he hasn't been able to do anything. The Republican Congress, Republican Senate, we're his best friends. So now people wanted to like him. Personally, we like the guy. We just don't think he's doing a good job. And so as he gets closer to retirement, his approval goes up slightly.
I'm happy he's leaving.
Another reason why, this was a question we started asking when we were running House campaigns and Senate campaigns. We were asking questions 2010, 2012, 2014. Do you want your member of Congress to help the president pass his agenda, or do you want him to be a check and balance on Obama? Most people wanted him to be a check and balance. So since Obama wasn't going to be the next president, we had to ask, because the term limits, thank heavens, would you like the next president in Congress to continue the policies of President Obama or change and move away from the policies of President Obama? Last September, a year ago September, it's 57-34, change and move away. This is the continue line. It never really changed. The last time we published it, nationally when we asked it, it was July. 34 continue, 56 change and move away from the policies. The one thing I always met, whenever I met with Donald Trump, I told him we needed to be the change candidate. That needed to be our message. Because there was, every vote that was going to vote for Trump was in that 56 or 57 or whatever it was. And we made sure from the time I took that first New York survey, where the majority of New Yorkers wanted to change and move away from Obama's policies, to whether it was Ohio or every state, every survey that all the pollsters took had this question in that. And every time we asked it in all the battleground states, it came up change. And the key group for us was the voters who wanted change but weren't yet voting for Trump. And this was when we asked it in July. If you were undecided, you want to change, 66-23. It was the hidden vote. If you were voting for a third candidate, you wanted to change, it was like 80%. Republicans, it was 91%. Democrats, 28%. independent 66%. So the country wanted change, and that's what, you know, in spite of all the character attacks from Hillary Clinton, et cetera, when we were pushing the change message, we were winning, and that was what the final message was. This is Hillary Clinton's favorable unfavorable. You'll notice at some point in June, July of last year, she went net negative, and where she was already a polarizing figure, but when the email service scandal came out, et cetera, all of a sudden people were reminded about her corruption. She was a net negative, and she was a net negative through November, through Election Day, with a 55 unfavorable and a 41 favorable. So only 4 out of 10 Americans liked her. One of the things that that we stressed is, I would constantly tell Mr. Trump, you need to run against Hillary Clinton, you need to run as a change candidate, move away from Obama's policy, but run against Hillary Clinton. Because the majority of voters in the country she never had a majority in the polls. So the majority of voters wanted to vote against her. And we needed to get more of them for us. And she was gonna run, even the Democrats, everybody thinks Bernie Sanders was, oh, great race or whatever. The whole campaign was Hillary and not Hillary. And Bernie Sanders, God, a 74-year-old guy from Vermont, who was from Brooklyn originally, come on, you know, he almost beat her. And the reason he almost beat her was because he wasn't her. It was, he had to be the not Hillary candidate. So Republicans, and you wanna know why we had 90% of, I mean, we had 17 candidates in the race, a historic number, a great field, because 90% of the Republicans disapproved Obama's job approval. They wanted change, and when you looked at the Republicans, it was like almost 90% were unfavorable to her. So we were like so energized to just win this election. That's what Donald Trump had to do to be the most anti-Obama candidate, the most anti-Hillary candidate in the field. And you know, when you look at it, in retrospect, when you look at it, who were the front runners in our campaign? None of the establishment candidates. I mean, you have Dr. Ben Carson. What did Dr. Ben Carson do to get on the national thing? He attacked Barack Obama at a prayer breakfast.
That's right, yeah.
Right. What, I mean, Carly Fiorina used to wake up every morning and attack Hillary Clinton. Ted Cruz, what did he do? He tried to shut Obama's government down. Donald Trump, how did he start this 5 years ago? He made President Obama produce his birth certificate. I mean, it was all about stopping him and getting him out. And this is Donald Trump. Now, if you're Hillary Clinton and your negatives are over 50%, what do you have to do to win? You have to keep your opponent's negatives over 60%. I used to years ago when I was young, let intimate I've done this for a while. When I was young, I used to work for Sarah Helms in North Carolina. And Sarah Helms was only ahead in the polls one day every 6 years. And he used to have over 40% negative all the time. So the way we would win was our opponent would have over 50% negative on election day. She had to run a Helms campaign. She had to constantly attack her opponent to keep his negatives over 60. And when she didn't, she could lose. Now, on election day, it was 58-38. I will tell you tomorrow, we will have the polls that we'll start releasing it to the press, and we have a new national survey, and Donald Trump's job approval is 48 positive, 48 approved, 41 disapproved. So he's really moving in a positive direction. And his personal favorable, unfavorable is now 46-48. So he's gone from net negative to a 1-to-1, and if he keeps doing good things, it'll go any time. And you can see she was, you know, I mean, the undecided didn't like both, so that's the other thing is, there was a undecided vote that at times ran between 25-30% of the electorate. So 3 out of 10 voters at times didn't like either one, Trump or Hillary, and that's when Gary Johnson was getting double digits, et cetera. But what we had to do is, we had to make it not about their personalities and character, not about his temperament, but about issues and change, particularly her corruption and her dishonesty, that it wasn't just she was lying about the emails, she wasn't just that she was lying, it was that her corruption was costing the taxpayers money. And we would do that. Also, the generic ballot was always close. And you can see it be very close there on election day. The Republicans, ironically, the Democrats keep talking about they're winning the popular vote, the Republicans actually won the popular vote for Congress on election day. Obamacare, through the time we polled, it was 54-40, 52-44. That national poll that I told you, disapproved, the repeal and replace, we got a question, do you want to repeal and replace Obamacare? Right now, 60% of Americans do. And it's not just that they want to repeal it, they want to replace it with something better. And there was a big drag on her in October. Smaller government, fewer services, larger government, many services, 5 to 3, it's been pretty consistent. We want smaller government. We think they waste a lot of money. This was the polls, these were the media polls, not my polls, but the Real Clear Politics polls. Or something. Yeah, right. Uh-oh, close the window, open it. You're doing great. Okay, when you look at the national polls, three-way series, this is Trump coming up at the end. Whoops, got bigger, what'd I do?
About 3.5%, I think, right?
Yeah, yeah, we ended up losing by 2, they weren't too far off. But you can see we really started moving, and it wasn't the FP, the Clinton people think Comey cost them the election. I kind of think Clinton's corruption cost them the election because it gave Comey something to talk about. But it was actually before that, when the stories were coming about the Clinton Foundation, that, to get a deal to provide humanitarian aid in Haiti, you had to be a foundation donor. The Russians got some uranium company in America that she signed off on after giving them millions of dollars, plus the millions of dollars they were making. So the corruption became personal, that it was actually costing us money and jeopardizing us. And that's when we really started moving up in these polls. And you can see here, and these are from the Real Clear Politics website, which is really good. What's interesting at the end, now he didn't win the popular vote, but IDB would have us ahead. The Washington Post tracking it really amazed me. At one point they came out with a poll 2 weeks out.
14 points.
Right. And that poll had a plus 12 Democratic sample. There were 12 points more Democrats than Republicans in it. Knowing that Republicans vote 90% pretty much for our team, Democrats 85-90% for their team. That's the way to skew a poll and try to affect the election. So they're about the Russians. It was our own media trying to affect the election. And most of the polls, the reason why the polls they'll say to you were, and I thought we were going to be right, and I thought they were going to be wrong, was that all those polls were based on the 2012 model. They assumed that Hillary Clinton was Barack Obama. Hillary Clinton was not Barack Obama. He was a historic candidate who could command historic levels of votes among African Americans, Hispanics, millennials. He was able to do that. She kept on running behind those posts. In fact, Donald Trump did 8 points better, net 8 points better among African Americans and Hispanics than Mitt Romney did.
What was that final number?
I don't know, I got it written down in the bag, but it was net 8 points better, so it was good. But it was, okay, he got 27%, so we got over 30% of the Hispanics. He got, among African Americans men, we actually got 13% of the vote.
I heard it was 17.
And, excuse me?
I thought it was 17% of African American men.
I'm going by what the media put out in their exit polls.
Uh-huh.
Now, the interesting part is the Secretary of States in all the states have not produced who voted yet. And when that comes out, they'll readjust their exits. That's the great thing about the media. They could be wrong and then they can adjust it after it, and then they know they're right. But when they actually produce the voter rolls of who voted, and we can match it up, we can and the states will know what it was by gender, what the actual gender turnout was, because it looks like the women were down a point compared to last time, in spite of the fact that Hillary Clinton claimed they were going to be better for her. And in southern states, you can actually track race as well as the ones in the Civil Rights Act court orders, like Georgia, North Carolina. You can actually track who voted by their age, by gender, by race, and by party, where they keep party registration. So, but in all states that have party registration, we'll be able to see who went, and they can readjust these exit polls to see what, they know what it was, the right answer is by then. This was going into election day. This is one of the days why we thought we could win.
all those skewed polls that said record number of toss-up states, you had 14 toss-up states. When you put the ones that we thought